Honoring Indigenous elders. Wisdom from the past. Indigenous people have a long and rich history of wisdom and knowledge. Indigenous elders have been the guardians of this knowledge for generations, passing it down through the generations to ensure its survival. Honoring Indigenous elders is an important part of respecting and preserving the cultural heritage of Indigenous people. One way to honor Indigenous elders is to listen to their stories and teachings. Indigenous elders are the keepers of knowledge and wisdom, and by listening to their stories we can learn about the history, culture, and values of Indigenous people. It is also important to give thanks to the elders for their knowledge and wisdom, as this is a sign of respect and appreciation. Another way to honor Indigenous elders is to support their activities and initiatives. This can include participating in traditional ceremonies, attending cultural events, or even just offering assistance with day-to-day activities. It is important to remember that Indigenous elders are often the custodians of the land and the keepers of traditional knowledge, and their support is vital to preserving Indigenous culture and heritage. It is also important to recognize the sacrifices and struggles of Indigenous elders. Many Indigenous elders have experienced displacement, discrimination, and violence, and it is important to recognize and honor their strength and resilience. This can include supporting the land rights of Indigenous people, or advocating for policy changes to ensure that Indigenous people have access to the resources and rights they deserve. Finally, it is important to remember that Indigenous elders are people too. They have the right to be respected and treated with dignity, and it is important to remember this when interacting with them. Showing respect and kindness to Indigenous elders is a way of honoring them and recognizing their wisdom and knowledge. Honoring Indigenous elders is an important part of respecting and preserving Indigenous culture and heritage. By listening to their stories, supporting their activities, recognizing their struggles, and treating them with respect, we can show our appreciation for the wisdom and knowledge that they hold.